If there's one thing that can really put a damper on your enjoyment of collecting anime figures, I would say it would have to be moving. But more so, constantly moving. I have moved a couple of times over the past few years, and I'm going to be moving again by the end of 2026. And since I've been collecting since 2011, I have a pretty sizable collection, roughly 300 figures or so. And you know, that number would be even higher if I wasn't so used to downsizing. Now, I talk about downsizing on this channel quite a bit. I love talking about it. I think it's really important. I love to curate my collection. I do it with my video games, which I've never really showed you guys, and I like to do it with my anime figures as well. And that's really what we're talking about today. If you want a deeper dive into downsizing, I'll link my previous video in the description down below. But today's video is more of a challenge for myself, and feel free to steal this idea if you think it'll help you out. But if you were to ask anybody where should you start when it comes to downsizing, they would likely tell you, and I'm pretty sure I said this too in that previous video, that you should look at your collection as a whole and pick out the figures that you're no longer as interested in. You might have outgrown them, you don't think as fondly of the character or the series, there's plenty of reasons, and I think that's a great place to start. But what if you run out of figures like that, but you still want to downsize? And that's where I thought maybe I should flip this on its head a little bit and look at this from another angle. What we're doing today is I have compiled a list of my larger scale figures. Some of these are articulated figures, most of them though are my scales. I don't have any Nendos here, Figma, prizes, little trinket style figures, and what I'm trying to do here is that I would like to cut the scale figure collection in half, roughly. I'm giving myself a cap of 100 in the core collection, the figures I care about the most, and then the remaining 75 I would be willing to let go of. Though again, just a fun little video idea. I'm not rapidly selling off my collection. I will continue to be in this hobby, still have stuff pre-ordered, still looking forward to stuff too, but I just thought this would be fun. I didn't want to include everything in my list because I felt like this would be way too long, so we could do that another time if you want to talk about like my smaller figure collection, but this is the focus today, and I think we should get started. Though I guess before we can truly begin, I should break down like my preferences in this hobby, like what am I looking for, so you guys better understand like the decisions that I'm making. So I've definitely said this in the past, but I usually collect based off my favorite media, the shows, the games, and the characters. I definitely have a preference for video game characters and just games as a whole, and then it would be like anime next, and then I kind of group gacha and OC figures together because I don't play gacha games, which is kind of a difficult thing in this hobby not to do because that's like 75% of the market. I still like the character designs, but I group them together because if I don't know anything about them, they might as well be OCs for me. And you know, while I still have a couple more things to talk about in terms of my preferences, we can start building this pretty quickly. Cause you guys know I love me some From Software games, Bloodborne, Dark Souls, Sekiro. I don't have anything for Elden Ring yet, but eventually I would like to get at least one if possible, that would be nice. I think there's some more here, but we might as well drag up the Xenoblade characters as well. If there's one franchise that you know I'm never going to shut the hell up about, it is the Xeno series. And I do wish that extended past just Xenoblade, because there's Xenogears as well, which I have nothing for, because I'm not really the biggest fan of the Bring Arts figures. I might get them down the line, but I don't have any currently. And then there's also Xenosaga, which I had the pleasure of finally experiencing over the summer. And man, I was missing out. I always knew I would like them to a degree, but I wasn't expecting to love the story, really like the characters. I just didn't expect to like any of the characters as much as the ones from Blade, but they're like just as good, if not better, which is crazy. And you know you played something good if you just can't stop thinking about it months after you're done with your playthroughs. Now, they're not perfect games. Especially the second one. My god, that one was a mess. But I still had fun with it, and as a complete story, I think it was really memorable and special. So expect me to add like a Cosmos and Telos figure down the line to the collection, but I don't have those right now either. Now, I guess I don't necessarily need the small Siegmeyer figure, and I might even drag down the fluted armor from the remake of Demon's Souls, just because I'm still salty they didn't make the original set, because they had to change it for the remake. I don't get why Blue Point or Sony made them do that, but I don't know. I don't think it's that big of a deal, but if I need space, I guess I would be willing to let go of it. There's also, where is this guy? There he is, the Invisible Boy from Moon Remix RPG Adventure, another top 5 game for me. Even outside of that, I just think this figure is really charming, because he is just like a kid who's invisible, but like it's so seamlessly done, and all they had to do was just take the idle animation from the game where the kid's kicking his feet in the grass, and it's just perfect. Looks good, it's painted really well, and that game is just, again, super memorable. Basically, it's about a kid addicted to a Dragon Quest-like game, gets sucked into the TV, and finds out the actions that he was doing in that game were actually kind of deplorable. The monsters were innocent. The NPCs just hate that this guy barges into their house and steals their stuff and just is generally an asshole. So the point is to spread love in the game and right the wrongs of the hero. We got Lloyd Irving from Tales of Symphonia. I made a whole video about this guy a couple of years ago. This was my childhood RPG, I guess. Really didn't play that many until Tales of Symphonia, but this was special because not only did I just love it for its own merits, but I also got to experience it with my 2 brothers, and we've beaten it like 5 times together. I'll never forget this game, and I just think like the memories make this figure very important to me, and I also just like Lloyd as a character. He's really fun, and his fighting style is also pretty damn sick. I think Alter did a great job with this figure. Maybe like his face could look a little bit more like the Tales of art style, but even so, I really like this guy, and I still want to get Colette at some point. Here's Etna. Everybody likes this figure. Whenever they see it in a video of mine, they always point it out, and I understand why. Etna's great. This is the original design for Etna from the first game, and I think that's her best design. It's the cutest one. It's also the most, like, tame, but that doesn't really matter to me. I just think for 2006 or 7, whenever this figure came out, this still holds up. We also have another very sentimental one. This is Kamina. No introduction needed. My older brother had a friend who was throwing shit out, and this was part of it, and he just grabbed it from him, and he gave it to me, like, 10 years ago or something, because he knew I collected, and he knew I would appreciate this. And I do. And I almost lost his glasses when I moved. I was freaking out, just looking on the gravel of the driveway, and I just couldn't find it, and thank God it was in my car under my seat, because I would have been really sad. This figure is actually pretty hard to find, but I didn't want to just buy it again. I wanted the one that I got from my brother. So yeah, he's got to stay, absolutely. Okay, to speed things along a little bit, can't be here forever. I got a couple of figures that I'm already like committing to selling. Shiro, who sold today. Yippee. We have a figure of Sonic from First 4 Figures, which I kind of just bought to save money for something. It was like a combined shipment deal, but it's such a big box, and I'd rather just give it to somebody else who wants it more. We have Shinobu from Demon Slayer, which a friend of mine recently watched the show, really likes her, and I'm going to sell it to him for like a good deal. We have Mona from Genshin Impact. I haven't played a lick of Genshin Impact, but like many people out there, the butt was very convincing. Though I will say, my mom really likes this figure. Probably not for the same reason, but I think I'm just going to give it to her. And then I guess I could see it whenever I go over to her house. Sounds like a plan to me. We have the Hacker from 7th Dragon 2020. This one just doesn't fit with like anything else in my collection. And I think it's like stylistically very cool looking, but it just doesn't really fit with my vibe anymore. So I'm going to let her go. We do have the 2 Kamina Now figures from the Idolmaster, which, very cute, love her giant eyebrows. That's a bit of a weakness for me, but I just don't need them. I'm not really like that into Idolmaster these days. And then the Bremerton figure, which I have to admit, wouldn't be here if I didn't just break it to bits accidentally. When I was moving, she was like stuck on the base, and I was pulling real hard. Comically flew out of my hand and landed on the hardwood floor, like all of her hair just shattered. It was very depressing, and I really wish that didn't happen, but it did, and I gotta say this figure is pretty much gone at this point, which is sad. I like Bremerton a lot, but now I don't have anything from Azur Lane. Next up, these, I really like the original Black Rock Shooter figures, at least of these 3 characters. I still don't have one for Black Rock Shooter herself, though I did pre-order the new one from Max Factory, I believe, where like arm and leg are all cracked up. But these just remind me of like collecting back in the day, the simpler times. They got massive weapons, they're so dynamically set up, and they have really cool expressions. You got Strength, Deadmaster, and Black Gold Saw. But yeah, I also did damage the strength figure while moving, so that makes 2. And it was just because the brittle plastic peg in her foot, it just like came out with her foot, so it's stuck in there right now. And that is like something that typically happens. A friend of mine's strength figure had the exact same problem, but you know. Though I did always display them with this reclass girl from Concole with her monstrosity of a tail. I think she's sick. I really like the electricity around her eyes too and the just ghostly skin complexion. But, you know, it's another one of those I've never played it, never watched it kind of deals, and if I have to downsize, this one just makes sense. Mr. Saturn, the goats, my spirit animal because of his big ass fucking nose. I think it was like a crane game prize from back in the day, but it's really nice. You know, it's very simple. It's like 2 colors or 3 because of the red ribbon, but I don't know. I love this guy. I love Earthbound too. That was like an adolescent defining game for me. And yeah, watch out for him if you're ever playing Smash. He'll break your shield and kill you. Next up, we have, what do I want to talk about next? I guess Gintama's a pretty easy one. I only have 3 figures for it. We keep the Gintoki. I've always really liked that figure. We keep the more traditional Kagura figure. And then the one based off the Yoshiwara in Flames arc, I believe it was called, I would be willing to let go of. I did buy this one first, but I always wanted a figure of Kagura where she was wearing the red Chinese dress. I just don't really care about the more skimpy kimono and long boots that she wears during this arc. But the other faceplate this one comes with is very endearing. I just really like it. But you know, with that, let's talk about another point I'd like to make. Getting the same character multiple times, having multiple figures of the same girl or guy. Because I think a lot of us do this, but also a lot of us tell ourselves that like, we're only gonna do it every now and then. And yeah, that's kind of how I am. I used to be a little bit more strict. Only need 1 for a character, but as you can see, I have 4 Shuten Doji figures. She is my favorite girl from Fate Grand Order, and I would like to keep them all if possible, but would be willing to let go of the Max Factory one. It's nice. I think her face looks even better than the Q's Q version that's of a similar outfit. Or I think it's the same thing, but a different, like, ascension level. But I just don't like the execution of just, like, the flat base, you put her on it, and then it just scuffs up the paint. The pointy parts of the gourd just, like, kind of shaves down over time. The sake being a sticker is really stupid because the residue falls off eventually, and then they give you more to replace it, but that will also run out at some point. So it just doesn't really feel that thought out. But yeah, I don't really have too many other examples of like doubling down on a character outside of one very obvious character, but we'll get to her eventually. We'll talk about that, don't worry. Next up, I want to talk about Pokemon, I guess. So Pokemon's a bit odd because I feel like it contradicts my typical thought process. I have way more nostalgia and appreciation for like Black and White 2 and Diamond and Pearl and Platinum than I do Scarlet and Violet or Sword and Shield. But I like the characters of Marnie and Ayano way more than any of the trainers outside of like Red and Blue or Green, whatever they call the Gary version in Japan. And I think it's just because I'm not the same Pokemon fan I used to be. I just don't feel like I need all this Pokemon stuff in my collection, but having a little bit to define that, yes, I do like the franchise is enough for me. So I would rather go for the designs that I like more because I feel like they blend in better with my other figures than the trainers, which do look a little bit simplistic. Not that that's a bad thing, the prices do reflect that, and I think these are fantastic entry points if you want to collect Pokemon stuff or just anime figures as a whole. But I think it's just natural after collecting for so long that your standards are just going to change. And I am definitely somebody who appreciates the finer details in these figures. I like the intricate sculpts. I like when they go above and beyond. And the Pokemon ones, while they're charming, while they're nice, they're simple. And they just don't really impress me in the way some of the other figures that I feel like I would really like to keep would or do. Perfect example of a figure that is just so godly that I can't let go of it. It's the Karisu Reading Steiner version. I don't even really have to talk about this one. We've done that before. Beautiful figure, her best figure to date. I don't even see any other company topping that one, like ever. They would have to go pretty hard. And I should have already had this one here, the Vignette Dead Demons figure, with Ontan, with Karode, with Isobian, the little alien on the bottom. It's a very rare figure, unfortunately. It costs like $600 these days, and it's very small. Make sure you know how big this is before you pay that like crazy aftermarket price. But this is the franchise that I brand my channel with. Ontan is my icon, she's my banner, and that's probably stupid in the long term, but I really like this character. And I thought the story was genuinely very interesting. I don't know if it's better than Oyasumi Poon. I think that has way more shock value, but I like the characters in the story way more. And it's a very relatable story too, especially, you know, a couple of years back, like almost eerily so. But yeah, I love that figure. That's another one that I made a whole video on. I guess we could talk about the Monogatari series. I do have a couple of figures from it, and I do like most of them. I have gone on record stating that I would like to get a Senjo Gahara figure at some point, but the tariffs, I just don't want to pre-order too much right now. Yotsugi, this is such a good figure. They should really re-release this at some point. And I've always liked the Tsukihi Jungle Gym figure. I think that one looks great as well. I wish they did a little bit more with the base, but as like a whole package, I still think it's very nice. The masks do a lot for me. And yeah, actually, I do have 3 Shinobu figures, which I really don't need at this point. I think the quintessential one is the Good Smile one where she's sitting on the donuts. The like base is just full of references from other characters. Really cool. The altar one, I would be okay with letting go of. I do like this Ichiban Kuji figure quite a bit. She's wearing like a Lolita outfit, I believe, and sitting on a couch. It's pretty chill. I like it, but I would be okay with letting go of it. And then the Nadeko, I like this one too. If I really regretted it, it's only like 50 bucks these days. It's honestly pretty impressive for the year it came out in. I always forget they gave you like 2 sets of legs, so you get like customization there too. Big ass Jack Frost. I spent so many years hunting this guy down. Can't leave the collection. This is one of my favorite things of anything that I've collected. I just love looking at him. The one I have glows in the dark, but like barely. It's advertised for doing so, but you could barely see it. But I just love him. He's so happy. He's so round and fat, and I just love Jack Frost, and everybody should. He haunts to my heart. It's a shame he's so stupidly difficult to hunt down, but you know what? I finally did. And if you like him, I hope you can too. Here are the Umamusume figures of Rice Shower, Daiwa Scarlet, and Ogiri Cap. And these are all keeps. I know I'm putting a lot in keep right now, but I really like Umamusume. It's like the one exception for the whole gacha character thing. Though I also never played this game. I just watched the anime. I'm all caught up. I watched every single one. And I think this would be my order of favorite characters. Ogiri, Rice Shower, then Daiwa Scarlet. I would like to get at least one more at some point. Not sure who that would be, but we got plenty of time to do that. Also, this is a case where I could just toss the Daiwa Scarlet box because it is smushed. It is so messed up because that's just how it was delivered to me. So that's a way to save space. I could do that for a lot of these figures, but I'm not gonna like make that a deciding factor. I'll just mention it if I want to. Fire Emblem, I'm a bit of a noob, but when it comes to this series, I've played 2 games and they're both like the entry points, 7 and 3 Houses. I would like to play more at some point. I'll play Path of Radiance when they put it on the NSO GameCube app. Either way, I think I would keep Marth and let go of Lyn. Marth just naturally represents the franchise better. I do think his face looks like a little but only because I'm so used to Smash, right? Like how he looks in that game, which isn't even like how he typically looks. I just like that interpretation of him more. But the colors are so nice, and just like the posing is way better here too. And there's like no real issues with this guy compared to Lyn, who had some pretty nasty quality control issues. Maybe not nasty, that's a bit harsh, but she was like riddled with small problems here and there, and it felt like the colors were like slightly off. The red in the cape is so damn vibrant and looks so nice compared and contrasting with the blue. So yeah, I think that's where my brain is going. We have Berserk, which I wish I had more to say, but I still haven't opened these Prime 1 1/6 scale statues. I'm assuming they're going to be literal works of art based off of what I've seen, but I just don't have anywhere to display them. That being said, because they are in my collection, I don't really need the large pop-up parade anymore, even though it is amazing for like the price. This is definitely still the best pop-up parade, but I just don't need 2 Guts figures, especially when one is massive and I need like a whole table to show it off. This one might be a little unexpected for you guys, the Princess of the Crystal from Penguin Drum. I adored this show back in the day, haven't really seen it since, but left a strong impression. I remember working on one of my finals for college when the Triple H album came out, like all the songs they played as like the episodes were ending. I think that's how it worked. But yeah, that kind of got me through it because I like those songs a lot. But yeah, this figure looks stunning in my opinion. Not like the exact art style for the Princess of the Crystal I would want, but I'm not going to go out of my way to get the Furyu version, which does have a better face, but like a much uglier base, so much larger too. This one includes the penguins, has the apple, which I think is a really nice touch, and just feels a little bit more complete. Still has a large presence despite being a 1/8 scale because the dress she wears is so poofy and wavy and whatever. But yeah, I love it. I love that figure and I love that show too. While we're talking about anime, might as well throw up the Chainsaw Man figures that I have. I will be keeping all of these, though I do feel like if a better one comes out, I would just replace it. I don't need to double down on most of these characters as much as I do love this series. This Denji and Power, honestly, I'd be perfectly happy with keeping these forever. I do feel like the Makima one, as much as I do like it, can see improvements. I think Amakuni made a better figure of her wearing the coat, but I didn't want to spend 30,000 yen on that, so I didn't. So yeah, seeing the movie tomorrow, can't wait. Hope I don't cry in front of the homies, but it is what it is, they'll understand. We got Arle from Puyo Puyo, I think they say Aruru in Japanese. She is extremely cute, and this figure looks so nice. The shading is insane. Alter just went so hard on this figure. For no reason, it does come with a little carbuncle too. Takes up like no space as well. This one is just so unique to me and like one of those once in a lifetime kind of figures. Like who else and when are they gonna make another extremely high quality Puyo Puyo figure? I feel like this figure is so underrated. And on that note, not underrated because I do feel like the paint on this figure isn't that impressive, but this was a dream come true figure for me. The EXE and Base Battle Network figure, made by Mega House. I think I lost my shit when I saw this one go up for pre-order, because like, when do they ever make Mega Man scale figures? Like, once in a blue moon. Amakuni made one, I don't have that. It's very rare. Just wasn't really my style, but this, it came like at the perfect time, like right after I played all the Battle Network games, and I fell in love with that franchise. Like, I enjoyed those games so much that it turned me into like a boxed GBA collector. Like, I was buying all of the games physically in box, which is kind of annoying for like cardboard games. I like them that much. And yeah, it's just sick. They're literally fighting each other. They're leaping in the air. Their eyes are locked. Their weapons are out. They're like above a digitized version of Treble or Gospel, the dog or wolf, whatever his companion is supposed to be. I always forget. I think it's a wolf. I hate that Mega House made a better version of it like 3 years later, just with like nicer paint apps. I'm not going to buy it just for like some slightly better paint application, but yeah, that's easily one of my favorite figures in my collection. Here are my Hololive figures. We have Korone, who is my Oshi, of course. Marine, who easily has the best figure for Hololive. We have the Sakamata Chloe, who is in my collection, but I just got it. Haven't even seen it yet. Can't let go of this just yet. And then the Pekora and MASH collaboration figure, which let me tell you, putting this figure away utterly sucks. Like, I wasn't expecting it to be so difficult, but that's just not something you talk about in a review, because why would you put it away? But it took a lot of force. I really thought I was going to break something. And because of that, and the ugly base that I complained about last time, I think I would actually be willing to let go of this. I do think it's cute and inventive and creative, but I don't know. I'm just not like as in love with it as I thought I would, because it's such a shelf hog. But, you know, so are these, especially Marine. Her figure is so freaking big, but, you know, I think it warrants it at the very least. All right, we're going to do it now. Let's talk about Taiga. We have 17 figures here. That's something. And that's not including the Nendos or like the petite figures. But yeah, obviously in this scenario, we got to cut stuff down. If I had a limited collection, I wouldn't try and be like, hey, I'm gonna collect every single Taiga figure. I don't even have them all. I just have a lot because I like what I like, I guess, and she was the first character I ever collected figures for. And then it kind of became like a running thing, and then people know you for collecting stuff on the channel, so you want to just keep doing it, right? It's kind of like with Xenoblade. People know that I like Xenoblade, so when something comes out for it, I'm going to be there and I'm going to talk about it, and I like that people want to know my opinion. And I think the same thing happens for Taiga. So how do we break this down? Well, thankfully, a lot of these are just recolors, and I really don't need to double down on recolors especially. So we could very easily get rid of one of the China dress figures. I think I prefer the black dress over the white one. Q made their own bunny Taiga, and I prefer the red one over the black one, and there's a purple one as well. That's the standard one. The other two are like the convention exclusives, but I don't even have the basic one. I have these two. We have the two swimsuit figures from Kotobukiya, and once again, I do prefer the red and blue one over the green and pink. And then we also had these two beach queens, which, if I'm gonna be real, because they're so small, don't feel like they're that necessary in this collection, so I would be willing to let go of both of them, believe it or not. We also have the recently released Pop-Up Parade, and while I do appreciate that they made a school uniform figure for her, I just don't think it came out as nice as it could. I think it's the teeth. I think the eyes might have been like slightly too far apart as well. It's cute, it's just like not a necessity. What is a necessity is the Max Factory original figure. This is just peak, easily her best, if not top 3. We also had the first figure I ever bought, the Tiger Taiga, which, you know, back in the day, Q did have a lot of quality control problems. This somehow wasn't a part of that. I still think this one holds up. And we also had the Shiramuku version, which I think is her best, like, most recently released figure. This one's fantastic. So many nice colors and details, a very, like, lavish and just interesting figure to look at. A lot of flowers in her hair, a lot of, like, neat little references to the franchise. She's got her wooden sword, which is cool. And this one easily has the best Tonori Tiger out of any of these figures. That's like the golden standard at this point. And it's a bit messed up that that was a store exclusive, but you know, they always try and do this with Taiga. As you can see with the many variants we have, here is the Q's swimsuit version. I'm just gonna say it, this figure's not very good. I think her face looks terrible on this one. The, like, eyelashes are very thick and extend off her eyes, and it's weird looking. The structuring of her face also seems a little bit off, and it's just not very impressive looking. Here is the School Festival Angel dress, which is a very cute figure of her. I couldn't let that one go. We have the wedding figure, which I'm kind of on the fence for, because I already have the Shiramuku version, which is essentially a wedding dress figure, right? But that one's just done way better. I don't think this is a necessity. I'm gonna hold on to it for now and would be willing to drop it down if I want something more from the rest of my list. And last up, we had the two bunny figures from Freeing, which admittedly they did a very good job with these two figures. I do have a preference. I do feel like the bunny version is all around just like of a higher quality. The shading is a little bit nicer for her hair, and I just had less like quality control issues with the bunny. But that being said, I still feel like this one's just more in character. I think the expressiveness is so important here that even though I had more issues with this one, if I had to pick, I'm gonna go with the Tiger version. It just makes more sense. And if we take a quick look at every other Taiga figure I pointed out today, this is the only one where she's like very angry and her mouth is open and she is yelling. And it fits like the tiger pose she's striking a little bit better too. You know what, let's do another big one. We're tackling Touhou next. I have 12 figures, I think, and we're definitely gonna whittle this down. Let's get the obvious ones out of the way. These are top 10 figures of my collection easily. If you own these, you know they're exquisite. They're like definitely the top 5 figures Alter has ever made. Even like outside of your preferences and just like opinions of this franchise, these are peak. So beautiful, so nice. And if you didn't know, you could actually pre-order these again. They actually re-released them. Holy crap, that's amazing. I'm not actually as impressed with the new Sakuya that they're making, but I will likely get it, I guess, unless things get worse in the world. We'll see. I just don't feel like the colors really feel like this character. But anyway, I think because Alter is committing so hard and I really like most of the prototypes, especially of Reimu and Marissa. I feel like it just makes sense to continue down that line and then just stop, unfortunately, with the Touhou Vania figures. I just think that makes sense at this point. I really like this Romelia. I really like this Sakuya. I just don't think it's necessary to have 2 of all of these characters. I would definitely keep Hatano Kokoro. This figure's amazing. And I don't have another Yomu. And I really like Yomu, so she's staying. Cherno's big-ass fucking head doesn't look right next to any of these other figures because she's a 1/7 scale, but it's Cherno. I like her. She's iconic. Okay, hold on. These 2 are essentially just placeholders until the altar figures, which are confirmed, come out, but that's not even going to be until 2027. Like, this Reimu, I like way more than this one, especially because this one just blows up and breaks eventually because the base is, like, flimsy. But it doesn't make sense to me to only keep one Touhou Vania figure. It just doesn't, right? Like, and this Flandre is just better than this one. Though she still looks phenomenal, it's just like, I gotta make cuts in this video. No theming for these 6 outside of the fact that there are some of my favorite, like, more recent pickups. This Chun-Li just clears every other Chun-Li figure on the market, though the newest one, also made by Max Factory, is quite nice, and it's a different, like, style, too, in terms of, like, the posing. I think more people like the posing of that one more, but I like the face here just, like, 10 times more. I don't know why. Akiman designed both of them, I'm pretty sure. But she is just, like, way too pretty here. This is, like, one of the most beautiful figures of Chun-Li ever. Here is the Aqua Bomber Girl figure, getting so much mileage out of the color blue. It is insane and so impressive. The shading is exquisite. I like the sense of humor with this figure because the bats are so cartoony. Aqua herself, so expressive. It's obviously a pretty sexy figure, too. This vampire negligee doesn't really leave that much to the imagination. But yeah, across the board, a 10 out of 10 in my opinion. Rika from Gridman, the thighs don't lie. It's also fun that she's floating in the air and, like, all her accessories and the scarf and whatnot are just, like, floating around her. Aegis from Persona 4 Ultimax, the fighting game. I believe this one is made by Icrea, and I think she has never looked cooler. I love everything about the composition here. The base of the destroyed city, like all the vents on her body opening up to let out steam so you could see all the mechanical detail. Her hair is flowing up so aggressively, and even the art style I think was just like nailed to a T. This looks exactly like Shigenori Sojima's art style. Here is Marcial from Dungeon Meshi. What a lovely figure. So many details crammed into this one. She is surrounded by familiars and monsters. There's such a lushness because of the environment they've also packed into this base. In fact, I think for a very long time, that is going to be the Marcial figure to get. And then we have the very recently released Free Ren figure by Good Smile Company. And like, talk about flawless execution. There is nothing I could say negatively about this figure. She looks on point. I love the base. It fits with the storytelling. The paint apps are exactly what you would expect from a company like Good Smile. There's a nice sense of like subtle dynamism because of all the wind blowing through the figure. And they also threw in some nice smaller details like the ring that she's wearing. They didn't need to do that, but they did that for us. So this is a keeper, absolutely. I wouldn't even mind buying more Free Rent figures. I like her that much. I like the show that much. But outside of like the goddess figure that Design Coco's working on, I don't think any other one is like compelling me to pick up right now, but we'll see. Evangelion is up next, and this one's going to be pretty straightforward. I just got the Parka Asuka, and it fits really nicely alongside the Rei Millennium Illustration version. So these two are the ones I'm going to keep. I don't necessarily need the Radio Eva Part 2 version, which I know is very sought after at this point. I'm kind of surprised it went up because so many people bought it. But, you know, as nice as it is, and I really do think this is like a 9 or 10 out of 10 Asuka, I just don't need to. We also have some Vanillaware characters, Momohime, Velvet, and Mercedes. My Gwendolyn, the one made by Alter back in the day, that one broke a while ago. I would like to buy that again. Definitely keeping Mercedes, definitely keeping Velvet. These two look exquisite, especially for the time they came out. I don't feel like Momohime is a must-keep, but I do like it. We'll check back on that one later. And you know what, I'm lying, I want to put this up here. I still like it a lot. Here is Lilith from Darkstalkers. I don't have a Morrigan. I haven't really liked any of the recent Morrigan offerings. There's some older ones I do like, but definitely keeping Lilith because I'm buying Shenko, I'm buying Buletta or BB Hood. So I would like to get a Darkstalkers thing going. Bisky from Hunter x Hunter. This would be one I just get rid of the box for. It's not a big figure. It's also the only Hunter x Hunter thing I have right now, so it's kind of out of place. But most likely, if I could get rid of boxes, that would be one of them. So easy peasy, put it down there. We have Ame-chan, who I'm going to eventually replace, but for now, because I'm just not like the biggest small pop-up parade fan at this point, they're so hard to like integrate with everything else in my collection. So for the longest time, she's just been in her box and just not on display. And that makes me feel kind of bad. I'm sure somebody would appreciate that more than me, even though I do really like the game. And I likely will keep this K-Angel for now. Samus from First Four Figures, we gotta keep that. I fucking love Metroid. I think that figure is really nice too, outside of some, I guess, dirty quality control issues. It wasn't like flawed, it was just kind of dirty. This Luigi's also pretty dope. Adol from Yeez 8. I was pretty impressed with this one. Kotobukiya packed a lot of detail into this guy's outfit. I wish they put a little bit more shading in his hair, but outside of that, I think he turned out great, and I could use more figures like this. He'll look good next to Marth. Kikuri from Bochi the Rock. I just like her way too much. She is best girl from that show, and I think Wave, including so many expressions, just makes that one a winner. At the same time, I don't necessarily feel like I need this Hitori, because I honestly like her smaller, goofier figures more. Don't get it twisted though, I actually do really like this figure of her. I think her face looks better than the one that Aniplex is making with the guitar and stage setup. That's obviously way more lively, but I do like the paint and the face and the eyes on this one quite a bit. But I got a lot of small figures of her, and I think they're pretty good, so yeah, I'm okay with letting this one go. We got a couple of Miku figures, which only 3, which is kind of one of my like sins of collecting. I don't have enough Miku. I just opened the 2023 15th anniversary version, and I loved it. I think it's extremely nice. I feel like this one, I forget the name of this one, it's from Project Diva. I know the sculptor was Grizzly Panda, and I always pick this outfit in the game when it's available. But because of the ugly-ass base, I think I would be okay with letting go of it. But we also had the first Dream Miku, which I never opened. I bought this years ago. I'll do it soon on this channel, I promise. Now I have to do it. Next up, we have Ryza, I guess? Maybe I'm misremembering, but I feel like this figure wasn't super popular in the beginning. It did have some very nasty issues when it came to taking off the jacket. Because of the way they did it, you had to disassemble the entire thing, and you would scuff the paint very easily. But if you don't do that, I think she looks quite nice, and I like how complete the figure feels because you get the universe of Atelier Ryza. Of course, I'm not going to forget that her thighs are enormous on this figure, so that's a plus 2. And she does look cute, as long as you're not looking like up-down on the figure. If you're straight on, pretty damn cute. I am running out of space fast. I think I'm at like 85 right now. I'm just gonna drag up the Fate figures, the remaining ones at the very least. I don't really want to let go of any of these, but the boxes are so big. Even this Medusa one, because I was stupid and I bought the special version with like the 2 bodies because you could swap them out for the Ascensions. But like, I like the Reaper outfit more, so I just wasted my time and space buying that one. I definitely prefer like fantastical or fictional designs over contemporary. We got Dorohei Doro, which I actually don't know what I want to do with collecting this franchise anymore, because I don't really like the 3-0 figures as much as I was hoping. Mainly the Nikaido one. This one just disappointed me, and I would love to let it go, especially knowing that another company is finally making a scale figure of her in her devil outfit. But I got like 4 more. This one's a scale figure by Mega House. I've always thought it looked cool, but again, I never opened it. This one by Figurama is huge. It's 1/8 scale, but the box is massive. I feel like I have to keep this one for now. I guess for the sake of variety, I'm going to drag down the Mega House Kaiman, because this one has both him and Nikaido, so it covers both bases. That makes sense to me. Oh, we got to do Guilty Gear. I'm running out of space here. Okay, Jacko, we got Jam, May. In this challenge, I don't think I can keep them all. So what we do is keep our mains. I play Mei, I play Jam, and then this Jacko figure is just way too rare. I will never get it again if I sell it right now, so I guess we get rid of Bridget, we get rid of Dizzy. This Dizzy figure is starting to break too, so I won't feel too bad about that. I have to keep the stocking. It's fucking stocking. Like, I have to. That figure's nice. Asahi Serizawa from the Idolmaster. This is the coolest, probably best figure this franchise has ever gotten. It's a really neat blend of like traditional and modern, just Japanese culture. Got the whole like street light for a base, this digitized pattern circling it. She has this like rebellious spirit in just like her posing and expression. There's just, again, so much detail packed into this one. It's very impressive. It's worth making space for, in my opinion. I mean, I guess at this point, I don't need the tour guide from Yu-Gi-Oh! I like her design. I like her fit so much, but I just can't keep her. Tatsumaki is not like a super impressive figure, so I think that one makes sense as much as I like her too. I can't not keep Emmy. This is like the only Figma, but it's as big as a 1/8, 1/7 scale, so it's included. It has to be. And I think I have to keep Idia from Bravely Default. If you played the game, you know how good of a character she is. I love her Japanese voice too. How do I not have any Yu-Gi-Oh in my top 100? I don't even know which one I would pick. I guess I'm not like huge into GX. I just liked it. So I guess I would just do Dark Magician Girl because I was never that crazy about the Kaiba. But that only leaves me with one spot. This is it. This is 99. One more is 100. I don't know. I don't know who it would be. You know what? I'm dragging down Momohime. I don't need it. It's okay. That gives me some little breathing room. I mean, I knew this would happen. This had to get difficult at the very end. I think what I'm gonna do is Menma from Anohana and Akko from Little Witch Academia. Just for like the nostalgia factor. All right, so I'm gonna cut in here. I wanna redo the ending because I didn't really reevaluate and like make some last second changes like I said I was going to, or that I wanted to at the very least. And it's been a day, so I had some time to think about it. Got back from the Rize arc movie. It was extremely good. I do wish they extended a couple of scenes in the first half, mainly at like the cafe or the festival, but we're not really here to talk about that. I did get this Pekora puppet at round 1 though. This shit's pretty dang cute. Those crane games though are the fastest way to have money fly out of your wallet though, so stay away if you're trying to save some money. But yeah, like I said in the video, I want to remove the Demon Souls guy, the fluted armor, because it's not the design I like as much as the original game. I was also talking about the Taiga figures, and I was kind of going back and forth in my mind about the wedding dress one and the Kotobukiya figure. I think because I talked more about the wedding dress figure, I'm going to drag it down. Though this swimsuit figure is so small that if I really needed to save space, I could just sell like one Nendo. It's that small. In fact, the box is smaller than a Nendo box, which is kind of crazy because she is a 1/8 scale. But at the same time, I just like the art style of that figure more than the wedding one, so it's kind of like back and forth in my mind. But yeah, then we had our Fate Grand Order figures where I kind of complained about all of them having such big boxes, especially these 3. And I think I would be willing to let go of at least one of them, not Nero. Her figure just impressed me a lot, and I only recently opened that. But I think I'm leaning towards Medusa because there is a much like smaller, more compact version of this figure if I really wanted it again in the future. And that one was a bit of an impulse buy when I found it for a very good price. I don't think I mentioned that in the original recording. But then one extra change, I'm gonna bring K-Angel down, unfortunately, and then bring Jill Stingray up. And the justification is because I like the game more, and I like Jill Stingray more too. And I do have K-Angel's Nendo as well. Not to mention, K-Angel has a lot more figures, and some that I like more than this one. But Jill, this is kind of it as far as we know. I hope that's not the case. But after thinking about it, I just felt kind of bad about not having this figure in my collection, even more than like the original Nendo. I think I would rather have this than that figure. So yeah, that frees up a couple of spots, and I think the way my brain is going is I really, really like this Riez figure from Trials of Mana. I like the JRPG representation. I was so like enamored by how nicely this figure was painted. The shading is insanely nice, just across the entire thing. I like her giant rupee on her forehead too, and the pinstripes on the inside of the dress. And this is a very underappreciated figure because Trials of Mana just doesn't have that same pull as some other RPGs. Then we had MX-chan, which is an OC designed by Tori Domino. And if you know that guy's work, I don't think I need to explain why I like this one so much. But yeah, I think I even like MX-chan more than Ryza. Ryza is just the way more popular character that he designed, but this figure, oh boy, it's got a lot going for it, especially in terms of the voluptuousness of the character. And then for our last figure, which you might actually consider a bit of a curveball, and I kinda do too. It's Ariel from Soma Spider So What. I don't know anything about this series, not a single thing, but I can tell you that I love her design, and I think this is peak Amakuni. I don't know what they were on when they were sculpting the body of this character, but holy shit, it's extremely impressive. And I can't just help but appreciate how nicely they brought this character to life. She has a really nice outfit too, what little there is. So little that the pants barely cover her butt. This figure is definitely degenerate to a degree. Don't want to say peak degeneracy because it really isn't, but there's just a lot of things that come together that make this design so appealing for me. But this isn't a review, and I did review this one like a couple months back, at least within the last year. So I guess we'll leave it at that. Very interesting design and very sexy too. But that is going to round out my top 100. And this was always going to be difficult, right? There's things here and there's things here, which should be up there in this section, because that's how it's supposed to work, that I feel bad about. But it's a challenge. It's not supposed to be a freebie. It's supposed to make me think about it. And this is ultimately what I landed on. I think the only thing I need to explain is this Gurren Lagann garage kit, which is technically a bootleg, and I talked about that in a video as well if you haven't seen it. This one was also a bit of a casualty of my move because I had to glue the pieces together. And there's a lot of like very long, pointy, sharp bits on the Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann's design. So ultimately, it just became way too difficult to move this guy around without something damaging. And over time, I think it's only going to get further damaged because it's just that kind of thing. It's a little bit too fragile. And no matter what I do, like pieces are just sticking out way too far. So while I do have this still, it's not really gonna last in my opinion, which is a bit of a shame. Now, if somebody asked me to cut the core collection in half, I think I'd be struggling for a lot longer. But I'm glad I did this in the end because it helped put my collection and my collecting habits into perspective and kind of reminded me of why I started to collect in the first place and what I should really be focusing on in the future. You know, my end goal with all of this, if there even is an end goal, isn't to have the biggest collection out there, the most expensive, the most interesting, the one that'll get the most likes on social media. That doesn't really matter to me. When you look at this list, it's kind of a mess. There's no real like pattern to any of this. Even the very top row, you got From Software characters and Xenoblade characters, and those look so drastically different from each other. You go down a little bit and you're at Uma Musume. You go to the right and you're back to Berserk. This is a very eclectic, just weird collection, but that's just what I like. And I don't have to like follow a pattern, follow an idea to appreciate and enjoy this hobby, and neither do you. And I'm sure that you know that, and I'm sure that you are working towards your like ultimate collection in some way, however it is, and that's the beauty of curating. Because this is one of those hobbies where you can't literally buy everything anyway, but sometimes it can get out of hand. Sometimes you do get caught up in the hype and you just buy a little bit more, and you collect like more characters than you really care about from a specific show. But whatever, again, we talked about like this big overall like idea of downsizing in the previous video. So I'm gonna leave it at that. Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this one. Let me know if you hate or love what I ended up with, and I'll be back soon with another video for you guys. Until next time though, take care and have a good one. Peace. Before I wrap up today, I want to thank the members over on the Patreon for continuing to support the channel, with special shoutouts going out to our highest tier members: Orakus, Sasami Adachi, Swoop, Nemia Dynaskull, Christy Eisenman, DT Perigi, Kaif Marie, and Magnatune. More videos coming soon. Sorry I haven't really been that active on the channel lately, but I'm back. Planning to make a few for November. Might slow down again in December, but if that does happen, I'll let you know why. Until then though, see you later.